Welcome to TRS Clips, India's fastest learning portal. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. What is God, sir?
God, of course, somebody may say God, generator, operator, destroyer. So that's as a function, God is there. But God is certainly much more than this. God in Sanskrit is known as Bhagavan. So just like there is Dhanvan. Dhanvan means the one who has dhan, the one who has wealth. If somebody is Bhagyavan, that means the one who is having good fortune. So Bhagyavan. Vidyavan, somebody is having Vidya, knowledge. Similarly, Bhagavan. Bhagavan means the one who has Bhag. Bhag means Aishwarya, opulence, grandeur, majesty. And that to all of them. And that to forever. And that to in completeness. That is God. So what we have is some sparks of His grace and of His opulences. Say His opulence of beauty, His opulence of fame, His opulence of wealth, His opulence of knowledge. So these are the different opulences of the Lord, and we also get some small sparks of it. So we become famous. Somebody is very beautiful. Somebody's to that, so that person is attractive. Somebody is very famous. That person is attractive. Just imagine if all of these attributes are in fullness in somebody, and that too forever, how much attractive would that person be? And that is God.
So I have to ask you this obvious question. This is something that a lot of people ask.
Uh-huh.
And I used to feel the same way when I was a teenager and a college student. I felt that when I went out into the professional world, met interesting people, had interesting conversation, read interesting books, I realized what God is. But a lot of counter questions about the subject of God is that the evil we see in the world, the bomb blasts, the crimes,
Yes.
the pain in the world generally, the misery, not even what humans have to go through, even what animals have to go through. Is that also a doing of God? If God is the all-powerful, almighty?
Okay.
So what is His role when it comes to the evil?
Okay. Actually, evil is nothing but the absence of God. So God has created evil by His own absence. So when we choose absence of God, we automatically choose evil. When we choose presence of God, automatically evil is gone. Just like when I choose light, automatically darkness is gone. There is no question of darkness in front of light, obviously, which is natural. So similarly, evil cannot exist in the presence of God. When we choose absence of God, automatically there is rise of evil, because evil says, oh, there is no protector. Good. Here we can rule. So then we see that evil is ruling because we choose absence of God. Like that's why we see that evil is mostly there in materialistic societies, because people are materialistic. So then evil guides their intelligence, their mindset, their value system is completely guided by evil, because they have chosen absence of God. They have to simply choose light. Darkness would naturally be gone.
How does God exit a place? That's my. How does God exit someone's mind? Is it because the chase for material wealth and the chase for your own ego?
Yeah.
Does that replace your chase for God? Because I'm assuming that when you see children, there's no child that's really evil inherently. Like rarely do you see a child that's evil. Then as you grow up, that's why evil starts kind of coming in any form. And no matter how good you are as a person, I mean, if you're a monk, it's a different thing. But a normal person who lives in the material world,
Yes.
there is some amount of evil that creeps in some form. It could be small anger, small greed, small lust, small jealousy.
Yes. So among children, there is no such evil. There is innocence. But since there is innocence, but without knowledge, there's no knowledge in children, but there is innocence. That's why they are very vulnerable to evil. That's why children are very impressionable. So we are to be very, very conscious in terms of giving them kind of association, because they are very impressionable. Evil can also make an impact. Even divinity can also make a similar kind of impact. So that's why we are to be very, very conscious in parenting, especially in early days. That's why they used to many sanskars. This sanskar, that sanskar. So that right from very beginning, good sanskars, the good vibrations, the good energies, the grace can be given more and more and more and more. So that's the case with the children. As we grow up, then we also start using our intelligence. And when we start using our intelligence, then we have the choice to choose presence of God or absence of God. This choice is always there with us. And that's why you will see anytime when we are choosing evil, that inner voice of the super soul, Paramatma, is saying, hey, don't do that. That's wrong. That's wrong. Don't do that. But still we say, no, I want to have fun. I want to have fun. And then we choose that absence of God. So then God still doesn't relinquish us. Then there is guilt also. Why did you do, man? Why did you do? Just for this cheap thrill? Nonsense. Nonsense. Why again? Why again? This guilt is again coming from the super soul. Krishna says in the Gita that he's a super soul in everyone's heart. So that means so God is not relinquishing us. But yes, as we grow, that choice is always there. But when we keep choosing absence of God, so next time the guilt is lesser. Lesser, lesser, lesser. And finally, then there is no guilt. Like many of the terrorists, when they do any kind of crime, then there is no guilt. They say, hey, how many did you? Hey, 25. Yeah, I'm 30. I killed 30 men. There is no guilt. That means the super soul has now completely, they are disassociated with the super soul. That's the thing. So choice.
What happens to those souls?
Which souls?
The soul of, say, a terrorist.
Of course, everyone has to face the consequences. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. The Newton's law is actually law of karma. So they have to face consequences.
This is from the Garud Puran?
This is from Bhagavad Gita.
What does the Bhagavad Gita say, sir?
Bhagavad Gita says that we all are responsible for our own actions. Of course, we are driven by our association as well. The association of the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance. Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun. But ultimately, there is the accountability is there on us. First, we choose the three modes, and then these three modes choose our actions. And then we have to face the consequences. First, we make our habits, and then our habits make us. But then we have to face the consequences because ultimately I chose certain kind of habits. So that's why then we have to be accountable. When we do good deeds, then piety is there, good life, good fortune is there. And when we do impious activities, and then there is impiety, there is misfortune, there are curses, there is darkness, there is suffering. That's there, naturally.
So, but what is the suffering that will pay back 30 deaths? You know, if you've caused 30 deaths in the world, will you die badly in 30 lifetimes? Like, is it equal?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Like sometimes we see that young children, they also die. And we say, well, what was their fault? They were innocent children. But we never know in past life, this person was a person who aborted the child. You know, we can't afford this child. Abort the child. But what was the fault of the child? So somewhere I did the violence. So repercussion would be there. In whatever form, it would be there. Whether in the form of disease, it can be in the form of crazy parents. It can be in the form of bad association, impoverished childhood. Either of this permutation combination, depending on one's karma. Yeah. So the mother nature decides that. It is beyond our comprehension. But nobody can escape the laws of the nature because nature is working under God. So nobody can escape. Somebody may escape the law of justice, the state law, but not the laws of nature. Nobody can escape. Like Dhritarashtra, he asked, he said, what was the sin I did that I had to face the suffering of the deaths of 100 sons? And then Lord Krishna said, well, if you go to 51st lifetime back, if you see, you killed 100 children of a bird. He said, but why took 50 lifetimes then? He said, Lord Krishna said, you took 50 lifetimes to accumulate piety so that you may have 100 sons. So you got 100 sons. And then that karmic action was also waiting there in the stack, which you have to face as well. So both he had to face.